everyone, welcome back to the Busy Bug Homestead. It's been a very long time since I put out a video, mostly because I was recuperating from the failure that was my last season, which I will get into in a different video because I have a lot of ways that I plan on fixing a lot of my failures from last year. Today, I'm going to start our season out strong with positivity because this year is going to be better. It's not going to be as bad as it was last year. Last year threw a lot of curveballs at me, things that I wasn't expecting and I didn't plan for based on stuff that was going on around my area that I didn't know about at the time, so I wasn't prepared for. We'll get more into that later. But today I'm going to talk about what I plan on starting from seed this year. I probably won't be doing as many like seed starting videos because they take forever to do and they're a long process to edit, and then how many times can people watch me drop seed in dirt? But I might do one or two just for fun, for me. But I did want to talk about the things I intend on starting this year because some is the same, and I'm going to be addressing issues that came up last year with those particular seedlings. And then some of them, I have some new stuff that I'm pretty excited about. So let's get started with what I have that is this, well, we'll start in sections. We'll go flowers first and then into vegetables because a lot of the vegetables are going to be the same because don't mess with a good thing if you got it going. So a lot of the flowers are going to be different for this year. So let's start with that. So first off, I am going to try starting sunflowers from seed. So last year, I just dropped them in the ground and that worked great. I had beautiful sunflowers last year. This year, I'm going a slightly smaller scale. We have a lot of big changes coming to the homestead this year, so I'm going to be moving a lot of plants around and redefining where things are going to be laid out and going because we have some big changes that are coming up really soon or within the next year. So this time around, I want to strategically place my sunflowers and I want them to grow a little bit faster so I can enjoy them longer throughout the season instead of just enjoying them for like 1 week in the fall. I'm going to spread things out a little bit. But I have some leftover from last year. This one I got from Floret last year. It's pancetta. I'm probably saying that wrong. I butcher a lot of these terms. So I'm going to try this one. And then I have the red eclipse I also got from last year that I had a couple left. And I'm going to start these inside like 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks before I put stuff out in the garden. Because I want to strategically place these around my raised beds and my upper garden area, which I will be gardening in again, both of those areas. The same as we did last year, just a little bit more tidy than last year. Because last year the watermelons went everywhere. So we're not going to be doing the watermelons this year because it turns out no one in my family eats them. I'm allergic, so I don't eat them. And my kids don't like them. My husband doesn't like them. So I'm not going to grow watermelons again this year because I just had a lot that I was trying to find homes for so it didn't go to waste. And then I got this free seed packet from Botanical Interest. Is also a sunflower. I'm going to pop some of these around. Since these are a taller variety, I want to be very careful of where I place these so they don't break in our heavy winds. We have really heavy winds that come off the meadow up in our upper yard. Our property slopes up into a gigantic 100 and something acre meadow that is typically farmed with corn, but it hasn't been for the past, well, it wasn't last year. It's not going to be this year probably. So I don't want to place these anywhere where they're going to get hit by that wind and snap because I don't want to put a bunch of them together. I just want them like strategically popped so I have little rays of sunshine all over the property. So those are going to be my 3 sunflowers that I'm going to do. I do have a bunch of the pro cuts left over from last year, a lot of seeds. I am probably not going to be planting a big field of pro cuts this year because I don't need them. Last year I planted that field specifically because I was doing a bridal shower and I knew that I was going to want to have access to a lot of really pretty sunflowers because sunflowers was the theme of the bridal shower. I'm probably not going to be growing in excess of sunflowers this year because I just don't need them. They're beautiful, but I will not be able to keep up on cutting them. So one that I do every year and I will continue to do every year because they are absolutely beautiful is my calendulas. So I've got the flashback mix, which makes everything in my garden so much happier. And the bugs, the bees love it, which drives them into my vegetables. And then the strawberry blonde, these were really pretty. These were one of the things that actually did really well last year in my garden space. I am also going to, for the first time, be doing borage. Again, another one to attract those pollinators into my vegetables. And I'm going to do these apricot lemonade Cosmos. Most of these packets came from Baker Creek. It's where I get a lot of them because I enjoy that free shipping option. And they have a lot of really pretty things. These ones specifically I got for my kids to run around and clip because they love to make their little bouquets while I'm working out in the garden. Keeps them busy while I am doing garden maintenance. So I got just some really pretty things in colors that they requested. So that's how that one came about. I bought this packet last year. It's this Angel Wings roses. And I'm growing these specifically for pots around my patio. I won't be putting these in the ground. I think our soil is too dense and too clay here to put these in there, and we haven't repaired the soil enough for roses. I have one rose bush in the back. It's doing well. I bought it as a clearance plant. It was looking really sad when I purchased it. I got it for like 10 bucks. And she actually put on a bloom in our first frost. So hopefully that rose is doing well. But the soil where I put her is in my recovery area where I put a lot of my clearance plants when I want them to grow on some extra, like, strengthen their roots, which is where my hibiscus and stuff is that are going to be moving. All of that's going to be moving very soon, and I will take you along for the process as I'm digging all of that up this spring to put in pots to get ready for a move later on. But I am going to be moving them around the yard or into their new homes. But as far as the rest of our garden beds go, that area has had compost layered on top of it. It's had new soil put in. We dug that area out. There's one of the first videos we did on this channel was digging out that area to prepare it for my rehab area. Slightly shaded, has enough sun, but it's mostly shaded. That area can handle the roses because it's had a lot of good stuff in it. The rest of my yard, not so much. It's mostly dense packed clay. So, but I am going to try just a couple for pots. All right, next from seed, the first time I've ever grown this is a new one. I'm going to try growing columbine. I have a couple of columbine plants out front that I purchased, another clearance plant. In the summer for the past 2 seasons, I've also worked at Lowe's for a third-party merchandiser. So I'm there when they have all these plants come in. I can't resist them. They're just too pretty. I always go in saying, I'm not going to buy any plants this season. And then they go on sale, and I ended up coming home with them. But I am going to try this variety because I really like the colors. I'll show you the packet again. The colors are really pretty. The ones I have out front are maroon and blue. But I really like the fact that these ones come in a bunch of different colors. And I thought, why not try growing them from seed because they are rather expensive to continuously buy in the pots. Another first time for me is going to be this Sweet Annie. And now I am growing this specifically because I want to turn it into a homeschool lesson for my girls in the fall. So when we harvest this, we're going to dry it. We're going to learn about drying plants. We're going to learn about using those in different projects. And we are going to try making the little wreaths that are on the picture. If we get enough plants, I'm hoping. So there's one field out front that I had some annuals in last year. I'm going to seed a row of this and see if we can't get some fun stuff growing in there. Maybe invite over some of their little friends and they can have a little party making wreaths. One I tried last year and one that had great success until the seed room got hit with whatever it was that killed everything. Dusty Miller. I want to try this one again. I picked up another packet. There's not a lot of seeds in this packet. I think I had this in a video seed starting last year. The little tiny packet in there doesn't hold a lot. So we're going to try this again and I'm going to baby the heck out of these because I want to get some growing. I love having Dusty Miller around for arrangements. I have 2 established ones out front that are ones I purchased at a nursery. They do great. I cut them for arrangements and stuff. I did a lot of that in my arrangements in the early spring and I don't think they made it into the arrangements for the bridal shower. I'll put a picture or a video up. Maybe I'll do a short of the bridal show because I did take a tour of them all, but I never ended up posting it because last season was hard. Last season hit me like a ton of bricks and I was struggling to get things done. I was struggling with all the stuff I had on my plate at the time. We've started homeschool. It was a whole thing. But moving on. So another thing I am very, very, very excited to do, and I got a little obsessed. I love Coleus, and I bought 3 packets of different types of seeds. So all again, Baker's Creek. This is kind of a red Coleus. I have a big area out front that was it last year when I dug out the cabbage bed? I'm pretty sure I have video footage of it. I'll see if I can insert it. I took all my grass and all the dirt and stuff when I was leveling out where I did the cabbage last year and the broccoli and the cauliflower, and I dumped it into a space that my husband the season before had taken a jackhammer to because it was uneven, it was broken, it was dangerous. So we got rid of the thin layer of concrete, which left a big open hole in the ground. We threw all of our grass clippings and compost and stuff in that area. It has made soil, and I am so excited. I can't wait to mow it down and flip it and just cut, because it grew grass. It, like, everything grew up again out of there. It was a big dirt patch of leaves, and it's beautiful now. So I can't wait to kind of turn it over, add a little compost, and do this Coleus up there because it's almost all shaded. It gets very little morning sun, and then it's shaded because of the spruce trees. But I also have this mix of Coleus, just kind of the general mix you would find if you go to a nursery. And then this one here. And I'm very excited to do a shade garden in that area. So that's one of those areas that I think I mentioned last year that I was preparing for the 2023 season. I am excited to see how well that goes. Also in that area, I will be planting a couple of things of pansies if I get them to grow. Last year I did the black king pansy, which is here. We're going to be doing it again. I got a couple of them, but they did not do that well because of the seed issue in here. We're going to be trying that again, but I also picked up, because I thought they would match really pretty in that bed, is this historic florist mix. And I think this is a new one. I could be wrong. I will put it along the screen if I'm wrong. I think it's the new one that Baker's Creek is selling. I'm pretty sure I got this from that new for 2023 section. I'm also going to do, let's go in kind of an order. Petunias from seed. I've done petunias from seed before, but I'm going to attempt it again because petunias are another thing that are really pretty in the garden, but they are very expensive if you just keep buying them, if you want a bunch of them. So I've got the balcony mix, and then I also have this. Aren't these cute? Look at how pretty that looks. These ones are kind of a trumpeted, kind of frilly mix, and I really like those ones. So we're going to try those two types of petunias. I've also got this Thai double blue butterfly pea. I bought these last year and I just never got them in the ground. So I am actually starting these ones later today because I need to soak them and get them started so that they can go outside. All right. So I purchased these next two with the intention of starting them this year. Some plans are changing. These are perennials, so I need to be careful with where I put these. Since some things are going to be changing on a homestead between now and next fall, I don't know that I have the permanent home because we're going to be digging up some other plants where so I don't know that I have the permanent home for these yet. So I think I'm going to only start one or two of these this year and see how well I can get them growing and maybe put them in pots. I keep a lot of this lavender all over the yard where I have vegetables growing. Last year I had pink, white, purple, a kind of bluish, like a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to try these two. They're a pink and a kind of a minty green color. I do have the pink already growing. I bought them from a nursery last year, a nursery up the road, which I might do just walk around with my camera and do a shop with me kind of a thing there because it's one of my favorite nurseries. I don't have this minty color yet, but I've got a collection of lavender growing in pots, and they're currently sitting outside wintering right up against the brick so that they kind of get a little bit of warmth in the daytime, but like not too much, and they also don't get full impact from the snow because they're under an awning. I popped these all around my vegetable garden last year, and I am convinced that this is why I got tons of tomatoes, because I popped them all around my tomato plants, and the bees love lavender. So they kind of drug the pollinators in and really just did a lot of the work for me. I need to process my tomatoes still from last year. I know that I should have done it last season. It didn't happen. I've got bags and bags of tomatoes in my freezer. They need to get processed. So I might be doing that this week also because my husband's kind of like, I can't put stuff in the freezer if we don't get rid of all the tomatoes. Can we start making sauce or something? Because that's what they were intended for. All those tomatoes that I grew were paste tomatoes. They were intended for me to make sauce. So I need to get on canning that. But I will definitely be putting the lavender anywhere that I have vegetables if I can get these to grow. But I'm only going to do one or maybe three each just to test it out. Then when I finally have the permanent place where the lavender is going to go, I'll grow a lot more. The first year that I tried lavender, I had some decent success with it, but I did not have the area prepared enough for when they finally went outside because lavender needs a more sandy, well-draining area. And like I mentioned before, we have a dense packed clay. So I need to kind of find a new place for the lavender to go. So another one that I'm trying for the first time from seed, but I have grown this plant before because I bought it from nurseries, is Lunaria. I believe I'm saying that correctly. I'm going to try growing it from seed because they are pretty and they attract a lot of beneficial pollinators, and I have like a little whimsical garden out in the backyard that my kids play in, and they put like their little fairy houses up in. I'm going to try putting that there. That is also where my milkweed is, and my alliums and stuff are all back in that area. So I thought this would be a nice little whimsical pop back there. I'm also trying these drumstick flowers for the first time because they're really pretty and they're cool, and I really wanted to attempt them last year and I didn't, and I wish I would have because they would have made a great pop in my bridal shower bouquets that I made. But I am going to try them this year and see if we can't get anything out of it. I will say last year I tried the bunny tail grass and I think I got one bunny tail out of the whole thing. So hopefully this goes better than that. But a lot of the problem with the bunny tail grass was that where I had placed it, I did not realize the dog was going to play over in that area. I did not realize that he liked to be in that area because he had never played there before. I dug up the soil, and as soon as it was fresh soil, he was all over it. So this year, if the bunny tail grass comes back, because we've had such a mild winter and it dropped whatever seeds was there, I'm going to have to fence it off because I don't want him in that. It's not a very big patch. He won't be losing a lot. We have an acre. He has plenty of room to run. Okay, the next one that I'm going to attempt doing from seed, which I've done from seed before, but not this variety, is these sugar and spice marigolds. Look how pretty those are. I'm going to try and do that. I will still buy marigolds from the nursery because I like to have them all over the place. Obviously, we know they are great for deterring pests. We know that they are great for pollinators, and they're just really pretty pops all over the garden. But I got these ones specifically because I really like that ruffly. I'm kind of going for like a ruffly fairy whimsical look a lot this upcoming year. I want everything to look like it could have existed in a fairy tale cottage story. So that's kind of the way I'm leaning with a lot of my color schemes this year. I've got nasturtium. Nasturtium attracts the bad bugs. I want the bad bugs to not attack my vegetables. These are also edible if they don't get covered in aphids. But yeah, so I'm going to try these this year and see if I can't distract some of those bugs. We have not a lot of problems with bugs. We've gotten pretty lucky with a lot of our pests because we haven't, all around us is those lantern flies. I have not seen one on our property, knock on wood. I'm not going to actually knock because it'll make my mic echo. But we haven't had any in our area, but they're slowly closing on us. The nasturtium, it helps with the aphids, which I had early spring last year, aphids everywhere. So we got that under control with neem oil and trap plants, which I'm going to do again this year. I did plant some spinach last year that I specifically planted to be trap crop, and then I just ripped them out and threw them away. Same with kale. They seem to really like the kale. I just planted extra so I can trap them and then got rid of the aphids. Yeah, we managed to take care of that. But we have an issue with the little shield bugs, squash bugs. Everyone kept telling me they were stink bugs. If you break these ones or kill them, they don't stink, so I don't think they're the same thing. They're just a squash bug. They don't care if it's not squash. They're going after it. So I am trying to find ways to kind of mask the smell of some of the vegetables because they seem to go after a lot of my vegetables, but not my flowers. Now the Japanese beetles, those go after my flowers, and those were a big problem for me last year. I was out there with a soapy bucket picking those off. So I'll talk more about that and what I did to fix that problem at the end of last season, and I'm going to be starting early intervention with this year. Probably in the video where I reveal all of my failings from last season. Okay, and then my last two for flowers are just gone free now. I've grown these every year. They're just pretty. I like to have them in the garden. They make me happy. So I've got these packets left over. I think I have a second packet because I accidentally made a double order last year, which, you know, is fine because I have them for this year. Those are all the flowers I'm going to be starting from seed. Now, that does not mean those are the only flowers I'm going to be growing. Obviously, I have a lot of perennials around the property that I've already put in. And I can't stay away from a good sale at a garden center, so it's going to probably end up with more flowers. They'll probably mostly stay in pots this year. I've got to pare it back because we are making a lot of changes to where things are going to be at, and I don't want to plant things that I'm just going to have to move. Let's go into vegetables real quick. I mean, the vegetables are going to be really fast because a lot of them I did last year. We're going to be doing carrots again. I've grown carrots for the past couple years. The varieties that I like and that seem to be the best growers for me are these little finger carrots, these St. Valerie carrots, and these these ones here. These ones did not grow for me as well as the orange carrots did, but they are a lot of fun for the kids to pull up and see the different colors, and they like that. So I also keep getting these free seed packets of the Merlot lettuce. I've got 4 of them now. I'm going to be growing this because it tastes really good, and I normally buy it, but I keep getting them for free, so I might as well grow the free seed packets. I've also got dragon tongue bush beans that I'm going to try for the first time. Picked these up on clearance from a nursery not too far from here. So I'm going to try those. Old Homestead beans. I'm going to be doing a couple of different beets. I've got Ruby Queen. And some golden. I've also got a few radish. I'm going to try this watermelon radish. And these China rose radishes. Greens, I've got the blue curled kale. This was really good. And some bloomstill spinach, also really good, grew really well here. And the May Queen lettuce also grew really well here. And it was nice because this is a smaller head of lettuce, but I was able to keep up with, I'm the only one who eats salads in this house, so I was able to keep up with cutting it and eating it on time. As for onions, now I don't have, I'll put a picture here. I'll put a picture here in my open space. Because I don't have the packet anymore. I gave the packet to a friend and I just kept a couple seeds. But I have the Wethersfield red onions from Baker's Creek in this little baggie. I'm going to try those again. And also these yellow sweet Spanish onions. These are the only onions I'm going to be growing. I use them as deterrents. And then obviously when they're done, I put them in storage and we eat them throughout the year. But I do use them for pest control a lot. And I just kind of pop them all over my yard. Tomatoes. Tomatoes were my drama last year. I had several little shorts and stuff where I was complaining about the tomatoes having issues in this room. I'm not going to grow as many tomatoes in here from seed. I'm just going to buy my paste tomatoes from the local nursery. That seems to work for me. They grow well. It supports local nurseries. So that's what I'm going to do. But I am going to try starting these little guys here again because I really wanted to get something out of these last year. So these are the blue cream berries. I have a couple seeds left. I'm going to try growing those, and then also these sunrise bumblebee tomatoes. I am going to try these indoors. I'm not going to grow very many of them, but we are going to attempt it. And my peppers, a lot of these are the same as last year, so I'll go through them really quickly. Italian peppercini. I'm going to try that again. I got a couple of those off the plants before they got attacked by the squash bugs. Bullnose peppers. Pippin's Golden Honey. I did not get any of these last year, but the plants grew. The birds were taking them, so I'm going to be screening those. I was not expecting the birds to take them. Corbachi peppers, one of my favorites. I love to cook with these, and I will grow these every year that I have a garden. The Jimmy Nardolo, again, another favorite. I will keep growing these as long as I have a garden. Okay, I got a couple of these jalapenos off the plants last year. Before the frost came. They took a really long time to grow out there, and I might have stunted them a little bit when I transplanted, and that might be why, but they were really good. Same with these pumpkin spice jalapenos. I got a few of them, and they had a really good flavor. So we're going to try those again this year, and I'm going to change up how I'm transplanting those to try and not stunt their growth. And then I've got some peas here. I'm only doing 2 types of peas this year. I'm going to do these Alaskan snow peas, which is just taped over so they didn't go all over my bin, but that's what they look like, little Alaskan snow peas. And then these Kelden, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Show you the packet. I'm gonna grow these guys too. So, my last section of seeds. I know this is probably not a lot compared to some people's seed videos. I've seen some that go forever. But this is my last section. I am going to go real light on my squash and cucumbers because we have the issue with the squash bugs. I can't keep up with them. I even tried growing some trap plant pumpkins because I know that they like the pumpkins to try and draw them out, and then I was killing off the nymphs when I find them. It didn't matter. They still kill every single one of my squash plants. So I'm going to go real light this year and see if I can't get a handle on how to handle them before I go big again because I have this dream of having these big squash trellises, and I love growing squash and eating squash and having it in the house, but so do the squash bugs, which don't die off in the winter. I thought that they died off in the winter, and I still see them around. So I don't know, maybe, well, it's not even our mild winter, because last year there was deep, like, packs of snow on the ground, and they were still on my window. So I have to figure out how to get a hold on, or a handle on those before I go back to trying to grow large amounts of squash. But I am going to grow, which this is not a squash, and I understand that, but they do attack these. I'm going to try these again. 3rd year in a row. Hopefully this will not be another year that the squash bugs eat them, but they eat them every year. And I'm going to try the Boston pickling again. Last year I got a couple before the plant got decimated. The first year I grew here on this property, I got a bunch of these pickling cucumbers. So I'm hoping I could, if I just slow down a little bit and I don't have a lot to kind of take watch of, that I can get some more out of that. And then lastly, my very last seed packet, which doesn't have a picture on it, but it's the zucchini Black Beauty. These have a really good flavor. I have managed to get a couple of these off the plant, not last year, because last year those squash bugs killed everything. But the year before I had great success with these. So I'm going to try moving them to a new location. I'm going to try netting them after the flowers have been pollinated and see if I can't keep the squash bugs under control off of them. I'm just not going to grow as many plants because one plant can do quite a bit of zucchini. So we're going to attempt that and see if I can't get that under control. So going forward, I know how to fix the problem. All right, so that was a really long video for me to do on just these. Hopefully it wasn't boring. If you stayed to the end, thank you for staying to the end. I have a lot of things that I've got going on. I should be having more videos regularly coming up pretty soon because we are now getting into what is my happy season. Springtime is time to get out in the yard and spend more time out there and do a lot more garden projects, which I'm excited to bring you along for. We also have some big things coming up in the future that I can't wait to talk about as we get closer. The next video I do is probably going to be the mistakes I made last year and how I plan to fix them this year. It's going to just be a trial and error year for me to see if I can't get a handle on what's going on in this property. This is the past 3, we're going into our 4th year here. The past 3 seasons of growing on this property have been a huge learning curve for me because before this we came from a small, not even a 1/4 acre backyard. I grew in small sections and raised beds. I am used to having plants. Even when I only had a balcony, I had plants. But growing on a larger scale, trying to keep up with it all by myself, and having 2 small kids, one of which just started homeschool, that made last year a lot of fun. So we'll see what goes on this year. I have a lot of plans, and I do plan on taking this camera with me everywhere I go. So if you are new here and you're just seeing this video because you like watching seed hauls, and you're interested in seeing what else I can do, or you've watched some other videos, please like, subscribe, ring the little bell if you want notifications on when my other videos are coming out, and we will see you next time. Bye!